up, guys? My name is Alan. I'm here at Kraken Motorsports to do some tuning, and we got a good selection of cars to get through today. Let's go ahead and get started because it's not getting any cooler in here. So first up, we got this 2026 TS WRX, and I personally love the VB WRXs. I've had one. It is my favorite WRX, and I am super excited to tune this one because it's got flex fuel. It's got the Cobb flex fuel kit, and it's got a Cobb top mount intercooler. And it's basically the only mods. It does have the intake tube from Cobb as well. So we ended up finishing this thing out on 93 octane at just over 300 wheel horsepower and 330 foot-pounds of torque. And then with ethanol in the tank, we flexed it up and got up to 364 foot-pounds of torque and 352 wheel horsepower. And this thing is just like, that torque curve is just so flat. But we are limiting the torque, otherwise these things will make transmission killing torque from the stock turbo. So we want to keep that safe, so we're going to limit the torque there and just let it ramp up as much as possible up top. So on this basically stock car with just an upgraded intercooler, we are seeing some massive gains with this custom tune. I highly recommend going flex fuel on these cars. They love the ethanol and they can handle it. You don't even have to upgrade the fuel system when you're running on the stock turbo. What's up, guys? My name's Alan, here with Kraken Motorsports, doing some tuning on this 2021 FK8 Civic Type R. This thing was a massive surprise when I popped the hood, because the customer bought it as is, no tuning device, but it has a lot of stuff under here. Immediately, what stands out is the XCI fuel pump and the bigger turbo, and of course all the bolt-ons. It also has fuel filter, flex fuel. We've got a lot of stuff going on under here, and it came from the dealership like this, and it's already tuned. So first step is we've got to get Honda, a new Flash Pro, to work with this car. So we're going to be playing with that, and then we can begin the tuning process. So it was a bit of a fight, but we were able to get the Flash Pro that was on there, get it off, get it back to stock essentially, and then flash a new Flash Pro to the ECU. So we are now able to tune the car and begin that process. And as we have done that, we've found a few things that are wrong. And one of the things is the flex fuel sensor is not working on this car. So the customer, that does align with some of the things the customer was telling us, with it not working properly whenever he would try different fuel blend, and that makes a lot of sense now. So after talking to the customer, he's decided to just tune it as is on what is essentially an E40 blend, and then we're going to give him a 93 octane map as well, and then later he'll come back and we'll fix the flex fuel setup for him, and then get it all tuned out to work with flex and everything like that. So for now, we're just going to tune it on the E40 and see what we can get out of it. And I'm not entirely sure what this turbo is. I can't see any markings on the compressor housing. It has it's PRL on the inlet pipe here, but I don't see any markings on the turbo. I do believe it is a bigger turbo, but we're going to see what it does. I'm just going to kind of ease into it and see what happens. All right, so we are done with tuning this FK8. It ended up at 430 wheel horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque, and the logs are looking pretty healthy. We could probably push it a little bit further, but with it being on somewhat unknown fuel and everything, we're erring on the side of caution until we can get the flex fuel setup working. With the upgraded fuel system, we are pushing about as much as what it will give us with the current setup, and as far as fuel is concerned. And yeah, but 430 wheel horsepower, and this thing spools really fast. We're hitting peak torque before 4,000 RPM, which is really nice on one of these. So it's a upgraded turbo for sure, but it's like a small upgraded turbo. So I'm just getting the final map flash, like turning traction control and stuff like that back on. And I got to give a huge shout out to my friends John with FK8TD for helping me with troubleshooting a couple things with the car, and then my buddy Nick at Speedcraft Auto Works when we were in the process of trying to get this thing flashed to the new Flash Pro and unlocked and relocked and all that stuff. Super helpful. It's awesome to have friends you can rely on in the industry, and I really appreciate those guys. Anyways, we are done with this car. Going to wrap it up and move on to the next one. All right, guys, so we got a 2016 WRX here. This car is basic bolt-on. It's got intercooler, intake, and charge pipe, and it's still running the stock boost controller, which can cause a little bit of issue with, getting a nice smooth boost curve, but we got it smoothed out pretty good and making some decent power considering we are sitting at well over 100 degrees here in the dyno right now. 107 according to that at the moment. So we are definitely fighting the elements, but ended up at 282 wheel horsepower and 310 foot-pounds of torque. They started on the parts install and fixed a few maintenance type items with the car this morning. We got it on the dyno this afternoon, got it all dialed in, customers taking it home all the same day. Alright guys, so I just finished tuning this 2022 BRZ on EcuTech, ECUTech, whatever you want to call it, and this has the delicious tuning Flex Fuel kit, and we got some serious gains on this car. I'm super excited with how it turned out. The baseline pull, we ended up at 223 wheel horsepower, and played with the tune a little bit, got 93 up to 235 wheel horsepower, and then ended at about E55 to E60 blend. That's all we could get in the tank, though it can go to E80, E85. But at E55 to E60, we ended up at 250 wheel horsepower for this 22 BRZ, which is staggering gains for an NA car. Mods, it does have an aftermarket intake, and it does have a header on it, and exhaust, full exhaust. Also, and obviously the flex fuel setup. So yeah, it is modded, and it is making some really good power with these mods and with this custom flex fuel tune from Kraken Motorsports. They don't all go so easy. So this is the last car. We were able to tune it, fortunately. There were several problems we had to work through in the process. It had several massive boost leaks that were causing some issues to start with. We were able to take it off the dyno, pull it in the shop, check for leaks, find leaks, fix leaks, get it back on the dyno, and make some power. So again, we are fighting massive amounts of heat. It's over 100 degrees in here right now, and we ended up with a 305 for horsepower and around 315 for torque. This is a basic bolt-on setup. We've got an intake, we've got a top mount intercooler, and we've got a J-pipe with a boost controller. Now, with 93 octane, we could see a bit more horsepower, I think, if it was less heat limited at the moment, but we're well into the compensation tables on the IATs, and it's just pulling timing out for that. And I don't want to turn that off because I want it to make less power when it gets this hot, because I want it to stay safe. I don't want it to knock. So we take a little bit less horsepower on the dyno. When you get out on the street, it cools off. It's going to stop pulling that timing out, and it's going to make more power. Of all the cars that we did have for this go around, we did have one VA WRX that could not be tuned, had a fuel pressure issue, and was what I think was just, pushing the pump off of, like didn't have the clip retain or something holding the fuel pump in the tank, and so we were losing fuel pressure on that one. Customer took that one home to fix. We'll see that again another time, but we had a pretty good round of cars this time. The Civic Type R, absolutely monster, making 430 wheel horsepower. That VBWRX, oh man, that thing was sweet. 350 horsepower on flex fuel with basically 2 mods, an intercooler and the flex fuel kit from Cobb, and then a smattering of VA WRXs, all making good power despite the heat. And I'm just super excited to be able to get these cars knocked out and tuned and show you guys. If you're looking to get a tune for your car and you're in the DFW area, you want to get on the dyno, be sure and hit up Kraken Motorsports. They can get you taken care of, and I'd be happy to be your tuner.